Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes, I am.
All right. Give me 1 second then. Everybody say W Anthony and W Warrior Princess for the donations today, for the tips. All right. Can you just let me know your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Yep. So my name is Zach, 24, and I go by Keegan.
All right. Zach, are you or did you vote for the enemy of the people, Donald Trump?
I have voted for Donald Trump, though I don't believe he is an enemy of the people. You're bringing up the points about homelessness, and by the way, I want to preface this whole conversation by saying thank you for letting me on. I
Okay.
hope we can have a respectful debate. I think that's the whole point of having this is just, it's good to have an open dialogue. It's good for people to talk to each other, because when people don't talk to each other, that's when bad stuff happens. But
All right.
yeah, but I don't believe that we're kind of going along the lines of, like, for example, let me ask you, what do you think of jail and prisons in that sense?
I believe prisons and jail should be abolished
Why is that?
because I don't think they're indicative to changing the systemic issues when it revolves around crime. I think they're wholly useless.
What are those?
They don't have any utility.
Got it. But don't you believe that if people are dangerous to society, that it's better to keep those people around those who are actually exercising their freedom in a way that's actually lawful?
Yeah, I think if somebody is a danger to themselves or others, that they should be put in a place where they can receive mental health care. But that place should
Okay.
not be a prison or a jail. I also think that when it comes to Donald Trump's plans, he doesn't want to just put those type of peoples into camps. He wants to put an entirety
Mhm.
of a population into camp. This would be the entirety of the homeless population, even though we see from studies that like only 20% of homeless people have a substance abuse
Mhm.
problem. So he just wants to
Mhm.
throw homeless people into prison, like just because into prison or into camps, mostly because he doesn't want
Have
people
you been
to see them.
Have you been to San Francisco?
I've been to San Diego and Los Angeles, but I've not been to San Francisco.
Just take a walk down San Francisco.
I don't
It
need to know
is
that we shouldn't put people into camps.
it is same thing. Well, same thing with Oakland and San Francisco. There's fentanyl all over the streets. The police are not doing
Buck
anything
donated
about it,
50 coronas.
and there are
If
people
anyone
getting
brings
addicted
up
to
their
drugs,
ding
and
dong
there are
again, please
people
reply
who are like, you can go into San
EWWW and
Francisco, just
nothing
like
else
go
to
on
see
any
their
street,
reaction,
basically.
please and thank you.
You'll see people pinning themselves. Do you think that's like, okay, so what are we supposed to do about that? Like, what do you want to do about these people who are doing that to
So
themselves?
just really quickly, I don't
Swear
have
on
to go to
Twitch,
San Francisco
nice.
to know that putting people into camps against their will when they have not committed a crime and or criminalizing something that is victimless so you can put them into
Yeah.
camps is a bad thing, and it's like fascism, like 101. Secondly, I think there's a lot of
Well,
things we can do when it comes to the homeless population. If we want to look at drug
has
abuse,
Donald
drug
Trump
abuse issues.
specifically has Donald Trump
Yes.
specifically said concentration camps, or is that just the term that you're using?
What would you call it when you concentrate a group of people into a camp?
What would you call it when you concentrate people into prison for breaking the laws of society?
Prison.
And it's that. So we're
The whole what like what what?
So the point I'm trying to make is that, like, you can't have these people who are, one, breaking the laws be
They're not
allowed
breaking
in
the
society. I
laws.
do not
They're
believe
not
that.
wait, stop. They're not breaking the laws. He wants to criminalize what they're doing. He wants to create the law so that they will by default break it.
Right. So, Donald Trump specifically has said, and you can go read this on his campaign website, he wants to set up these 10 cities for rehabilitation purposes.
Do you
It's
believe
not
somebody should be
necessarily
forced to
okay,
receive
so like,
rehabilitative care? Do you think somebody should be forced to receive that? If they've not committed a
well,
crime,
yeah,
should they be
I mean,
forced to receive rehabilitative
it's the
care?
same thing as prison and jail. If you're a danger to society,
Why
you
are
should
homeless
receive that
people
care.
why are homeless people a danger to society?
Well, not necessarily homeless people in dangerous society. I'm speaking in the context of why prisons and jail exist.
Well, no, wait.
Let's work
So
along.
then it's not
Yeah.
so then it's not analogous. You can't analogize a prison and jail to this because these people are not dangerous to society. So why should they be put in a place? Why should their autonomy be restricted and they be forced into a camp or in jail if they are not a danger to society?
Well, no. I was talking about the context of jail and prison.
I'm talking
That's
about
what
the
I meant when I
context of
said
what
dangerous
Trump
to
is
society.
saying. You're trying to
Homelessness
analogize.
itself. Well, hold on. homelessness itself is not necessarily a crime, but don't you think that these people should receive help?
Yes. Do you think that help should be forced on them, and or they should be forcibly relocated so that they can receive this help?
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's not going to benefit society. Okay, so if these people were to continue to remain homeless, right? What do you think is a better solution than what Donald Trump is offering?
I think there are a litany of ways that we have solutions. One of the best solutions came from an experiment that was done. I think it might have been Denver, where they gave UBI to homeless people, and 60 to 70% of those homeless people had stable living within the year, just by giving them UBI.
Is that the call is not too clear? Is that UV as in victory or
UBI,
V as in boy?
universal basic income.
Universal basic income. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, that's definitely more along the lines of like a socialist kind of way to do it.
It's not socialism.
I'm not too keen on that idea because
Why
I
it works?
believe that if you have, I believe if that if you, well, this is just going to go down to like my root ideas because I'm more of a capitalist person, right? I believe that if America does have equal opportunities, which I believe it does, people should be able to take advantage of those opportunities and be able to make something of themselves, but they have to be able to solve the root problems that they have. Most of the time, like these people are, and it's not controllable because I have compassion for those that have like severe mental disabilities. You know, that's something that's just like, how are we going to be able to solve that? You know, it would help if they had families. It would help if there was like an actual, which I think UBI, maybe it could be beneficial in that sense. I just believe that getting down to the roots of rehabilitating those that are suffering from like drug addiction, those that have traumas and everything like that, should receive the help that they have so that they're not on the streets but able to make something of themselves after they receive treatment.
Yeah, so it was helpful. We saw this like directly when it came to people receiving UBI. It was directly helpful and directly beneficial. So you would be against this program that's shown effectiveness, and instead you would be for forcibly relocating people into camps.
Well, no, because the UBI stuff is something that I hadn't known before, and I think maybe I'm not saying like socialism in itself is a completely evil thing because there have been
UBI is
some
not
that have
socialism.
worked out. Well, I mean it's a welfare program, right?
Welfare is not socialism.
I believe it is.
You can believe it is, but you would be incorrect. Socialism is when the means of production are given to the working class. So if the means of production is not given to the working class, you do not have socialism.
I mean, California is a socialist state, right?
No, it's not.
You have a lot of welfare.
The means of production, welfare is not socialism.
It 100% is.
It is not. Where do you get your definition of socialism from?
Literally from Google.
Okay, so not from like actual socialist reading. You just like Googled the definition and like you're running with that. Read the definition off of Google for me for socialism.
All right, let me look that up. A political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned and regulated by the community as a whole.
Oh, man. So exactly what I said, not what you said. Got it.
Well, I mean, welfare programs in general are meant to
welfare programs are not the means of production.
That are
social programs are not socialism. Social programs are not socialism.
All right. Well, I mean, if you got me on that one, sure. I still don't think that like these welfare programs in general are helpful to society. I think that people should work hard. I don't think they should be looking for handouts from the government.
Why?
Because that's creating a pretty lazy society. You're gonna get people who are not wanting to put effort into themselves. It's not gonna, in general, I don't think that creates a productive society.
When somebody goes on welfare in the United States, how long are they typically on welfare for?
Let me see, that I'm not aware of.
2 years. And then guess what happens after 2 years?
Do you have a statistic for that?
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. After 2 years, they have employment. They've got jobs.
Why should my tax dollars be used for somebody who needs a welfare program?
Why shouldn't it? Your
Well,
taxes,
that's the
your
thing.
taxes,
It's my
just
money.
FYI, your taxes are your payment to live in a specific society. So you pay taxes in order to live in the United States. Why shouldn't those taxes be used to benefit the other people living in the United States?
That's my money. I worked hard for it. Why should I give the government any piece of my money?
Do you use roads? If
Yeah.
your house burns down, would you expect the fire department to come? Do your
Yes.
kids go to school? Or if you have kids,
Yeah.
do you think they should be able to go to school?
Yeah.
Do you think that
In
like
fact,
hospitals, do you think hospitals should
you don't
exist?
have to fund any of that stuff with taxes.
Do you think hospitals should exist?
Yeah. Again, you don't have to use taxes for that.
Okay, do you think the US government should have a military to protect itself?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of ways to make money. It's not just through taxes.
Okay, how should the US government fund these things if not for taxes?
Well, let's take a look at Donald Trump's 4 years, right? He has a proven record in which he cut the taxes. The actual economy skyrocketed because capitalism does work.
Incorrect.
You have trickle-down economics, which I know a lot of people don't like Reagan's policies, but he also used tariffs to make a lot of that money as well.
You are unaware of how Donald Trump's policies actually affected the United States. How do you think Donald Trump had an effect on the United States economy in 2017 and 2018, his first 2 years in office?
Well, yeah, he implemented the tax cuts and wealth.
Didn't go into effect until 2018, and we didn't go into effect until 2018, and we wouldn't have seen the benefits of that until the 2019 tax year. Also, when we look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act,
everybody's take-home pay was increasing. Everybody saw the gas prices going down.
How did Donald Trump make gas prices go down?
With all the policies that he implemented.
What were those policies?
How is there not a direct effect there, right?
What were those policies?
Trickle-down economics. It just benefits everyone.
What were those policies?
In 2017, he passed that Tax Cuts Act.
Didn't go into effect until 2018, and we wouldn't have felt the effects of it until 2019. So how did he get gas prices to go down in 2017 and 2018? Be specific. Don't be vague.
I don't know if I can tell you specifically, but I just know it did. But when Biden
so you're doing a causation correlation fallacy. You saw something happen while Donald Trump was in office, and instead of realizing that there might have just been a correlation to this, you believe that Donald Trump caused this, even though it's just correlated that these two things happened at the same time. Do you know what Donald Trump did? Do you know what Donald Trump did in April of 2020? In speaking about gas prices, he struck a deal with Saudi Arabia and convinced OPEC to reduce their supply or reduce their manufacturing on oil, so that way oil prices would go back up. He did this April of 2020. He told the Saudi Arabian prince, if you do not do this, I will not provide you military protection from the U.S. So oil prices then went up because of the deal he made with OPEC. Did you know this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's what I thought. Do you know what happened when he tariffed China? Do you know what happened to our farms, like U.S. agriculture?
What's that?
China is one of our largest agricultural traders. When he tariffed China, they hit back and caused us to have to bail out farms, like $68 billion to bail out U.S. farms. It also saw a lot of independently owned farms be purchased by large corporations, because those independently owned farms had to sell because they went bankrupt because Donald Trump doesn't understand how tariffs work. So explain to me again how he's better for the economy.
I don't think that necessarily is a viable argument. You know why? I mean, a lot of people saw the benefits anyways. What I remember is that everything was a lot cheaper under Trump. You had gas prices going down. Nothing was inflating too much.
What did Trump do to do this?
Skyrocketing.
What did Trump do to do this? Because when we look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, right? When we look at that specifically, middle and lower class Americans only saw an increase in their tax refund by $229. That's it. That's all they. That's the only extra they got at the end of the day was an extra $229. This is per IRS data. So what specifically
Well, I
did
mean,
Donald Trump do?
it's trickle down economics, right?
Trickle
If
down economics doesn't work.
businesses are able to benefit, if
We
businesses
did
are able
not
to
see we
benefit,
did not see an increase in manufacturing jobs come from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. We did not see an increase in take-home pay come directly from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So what specifically did we receive from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? Be very specific.
there absolutely was an increase in take-home pay.
Not
How
due
can
to
you
the
not
Tax
say
Cuts
that?
and Jobs Act. No, there
A
was
lot
not.
of people felt that.
No, there was not.
Yeah, I mean, how can you deny that? A lot of people felt that.
Provide me some
That's
evidence.
why that's a lot of people are clamoring towards his common sense policies because they're so tired of being hammered down by what the Democrats have been pushing for the last 4 years. Everybody just wants to live in that comfortable kind of sense that we had when Trump was president.
Yeah. Do you think it might be interesting? Do you think it might be interesting that when it comes to prices increasing, so let's say we have our take home pay increases a little bit. What do you think that accomplishes when the price of goods are also increasing at the same time?
Oh no, they so the price of goods are only really skyrocketed in the last 4 years when Biden was president.
Why did the cost of agricultural goods go up? Could it be that Donald Trump
Uh,
started a trade war with China and they hit us back in agriculture and we had to bail out $68 billion in US farming, and so farms went bankrupt and couldn't and agriculture took a hit? Could that possibly be a reason? Could that possibly be a direct
Biden is
causation?
Biden is a guy who is sending like all these hundreds of billions of dollar packages to Ukraine, Israel,
Crazy
and all
pivot
these other places.
when every single Republican has voted for U.S. Aid to Ukraine. Crazy pivot. Crazy pivot. Can you tell me specifically? Give me a very specific, like, give me the causation of how Joe Biden increased prices at the grocery store.
I can't tell you specifically now.
Because it didn't happen. Prices, we saw a net increase in prices everywhere because COVID happened and supply chain issues cropped up due to COVID. So in order for things to get back to normal, we had to wait for the large portion of the pandemic to be mostly over so supply chains could get back to normal. And here's a real quick question. Which country in the G7 recovered from the COVID economic disaster the fastest?
Now that I couldn't tell you now.
We did. And which president put through a policy to help us recover from the COVID-19 pandemic?
You're going to point out Biden, right?
The American Rescue Plan was a Joe Biden policy, and it's largely credited as being responsible for getting us back on track economically. What did Trump do to help us with COVID? Lied about mask usage, downplayed how severe the virus was, told people to shoot up ivermectin, sold equipment and stuff that we needed to Putin.
Well,
I'm sorry,
I
sold is
gotta
crazy.
hand it to you. You got your chops. You're very well informed.
Well, I mean, it's an election period. I'd like to be informed on the two people that are running for election.
Yeah, I would like to as well, right? I mean, that's a good thing why we're having this open dialogue.
But you did vote for Donald Trump already, right?
At least I'm being intellectually honest with you and like admitting the stuff I don't know, right?
Wait, sure, but you did vote for Donald Trump, correct?
I did. Yeah.
So you admit that you voted without being well informed.
No, that I wouldn't really necessarily agree with. No.
What topic were you well informed on enough to vote for Donald Trump?
I think there's enough that Donald Trump has a record of 4 years that I agree with. I think that the country was much better under him.
I'll just go back to asking, what specifically did Donald Trump do? Let's just talk about his first 2 years. Let's nix the COVID years, right? Let's look at just like the first 2 years. What did he do in 2017 and 2018 that led to a good economy? Or did he just coast on the coattails of the economy that was put in place before him?
There's no way that Obama had that kind of economy. If
Are you
Obama
joking?
if Obama had that kind of economy for
He
8 years,
did.
then why didn't we get that when
He
Obama
did
was
not have
president?
he did not have that kind of economy for 8 years. He had that kind of economy for 4 years because in the first 4 years he was dealing with Bush's recession. He was dealing with the recession that he took over from the Republicans. The Republicans who put us into a recession after an administration that left us with a surplus. So Clinton left us with a surplus. Bush came in and mismanaged the economy, put us into a recession. Obama came in, got the recession back on track. That's why if you look at any relevant economic data,
Well,
all you see in Trump's time in office is it doing this. It starts here and then it just maintains. There's no spike. It just maintains. Why? Because all he had to do to not fuck up Obama's economy was nothing, which is largely what he did, which was nothing.
I'm not a huge fan of Bush either. Keep in mind, I very largely disagree with the Iraq War. I mean, that was very costly in itself, right?
Most of what Bush did was costly because Republicans tend to run up the deficit. Because Republicans like to spend but don't like to collect revenue, so our deficit runs up. So, for instance,
Donald Trump did spend a lot. He
and then
did.
he reduced the revenue. He spent a lot while reducing the revenue the government takes in. You know what happens when you spend and then reduce revenue? Deficits.
No.
Deficits is what happens.
Yeah. You know, in this case, though, let me ask, are you voting for Kamala Harris?
I did vote for Kamala Harris. Yeah, Kamala Harris. Yeah, I voted for Kamala.
Okay. What is her greatest achievement?
Existing in all three branches of the U.S. government. She existed in the legislative
What
branch, the
specifically has
judicial
she achieved,
branch.
and as far as her policies go, that make her a great candidate?
Sure, her policies, and when she was when she worked in California as an attorney general, led to a decrease in recidivism by like upwards of like 60% because she implemented, I don't remember what the name of it was. She implemented a policy to help recidivism for drug users, and she decreased recidivism by like 60 to 70%. That's a huge thing. Next, when she was put in charge of the Northern Triangle countries, which are let me pull up which country specifically that was. While she was vice president, she was put in charge of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, and figuring out why immigration from there was so high. She worked with the president of Honduras, implemented policies in Honduras to help with job creation, saw a decrease in those three countries of immigration by 250,000. That's another thing that she did.
Got it.
She oversaw record-breaking Senate ties. She's oversaw the most tie-breaking votes in the Senate of any vice president, specifically casting the tie-breaking vote for the infrastructure bill. That's another accomplishment. She helped put back into place a Trump-era repeal, which saw federal prosecutors targeting people harder for marijuana use. She helped repeal that, or she helped put that back into place because Trump repealed it. Her and Biden collectively pardoned thousands of people for federal marijuana charges. She did that as well.
Okay.
What were Trump's accomplishments?
Well, let's ask about like her truancy policy when it came to like school or like students and stuff like that. You know, you had a lot of parents who were put into prison like for
how many?
Not really like the best reasons.
How many?
I mean, I can't tell you the number off the top of my head. But
interesting. So how do we know? So how do we know it was a lot?
You want me to pull up the stat?
Yeah. If you're gonna make the claim that a lot of people were put into prison, I'm gonna need a fucking source for that, homie.
All right, let me Google that.
But also, do you think I need to agree with like every policy she's ever put through in order to vote for her?
No.
Okay.
No, definitely not.
So do we recognize that politicians can put into place policies that they assume are going to help, but then have negative outcomes, such like Donald Trump's policies where he brought in businesses to try to help intercity cities, but all the money went to large corporations uh, for tax cuts instead of the cities themselves. Like this policy was put in place on the assumption that it was going to be good, but then didn't end up positively benefiting the communities it was put into place on.
Yeah, these are kind of new facts to me. Yeah, man. Like I said, I gotta hand it to you. You know your chops, and you're very well informed. In any case, it still won't convince me otherwise because
So so
in
I
good
can
faith,
provide
I
you with
just
as
believe.
many. Wait, I'm gonna make a claim right now. You're not hearing good faith. A good faith conversation would mean that you receive new information and your position changes because you've been provided with new information that you didn't have before. A bad faith conversation is I'm gonna hold 10 toes down in my position no matter what I'm told. That would be a bad faith conversation. Good faith doesn't just mean you're
No,
polite, like right?
well, no, no,
That's
no,
not a
no.
good faith
I said
conversation.
I believe that Trump. I believe in good faith that Trump is still going to be beneficial for the country.
Can you
I don't think a
substantiate
lot
that
of
in any
people
way?
are. I mean, this is exactly why Trump is like leading in all the polls because he
No, he's no.
people are just tired
So
of it.
let me explain to you how polls work. He's leading in all the polls because they've pollsters have misrepresented data of people who've moved. So they're claiming that Trump is going to bring out new people because of new voting registration in specific counties. However, when we actually look at the real data of those people, they were people that moved from other counties that were already voting for Trump because they weren't new voter registrations, they were re-registrations in new counties. That's why he's leading in a bunch of these polls. Also, typical of pollsters in election periods is that they keep races close because it's better for ratings. Okay, so when I
I
ask
mean,
you like
sure.
why
However, the
sure,
in every poll since 2016 and 2020, they've always heavily underestimated Donald Trump.
yeah, he lost the popular vote in both years and lost the electoral college in the second one. So like doesn't really seem that crazy to
But
underestimate a guy that lost.
what I mean by an underestimation, so for example, like in the blue wall states, for example, in 2016, Hillary was supposed to like come away with those states by like five,
Yeah,
7 points,
sub on Twitch.
but she didn't.
Nice.
Yeah,
Same
she
thing
lost the electoral college. She won the popular
in
vote. More
yeah,
people
well, I
wanted
mean in
her
the
to be president than they wanted Donald Trump to be president. But because of the electoral college, he won because of DEI. He's a DEI president.
right. So what I'm trying to say is that the polls generally underestimate Trump. The fact that Trump is leading for the first time since 2016 and 2020 is very telling about where the country is starting to lean.
He's not leading. That's the funny part. Well, look at the current polling in swing states and tell me he's leading.
Uh, which poll was I looking at? No, it wasn't there's a YouTube channel I follow. His name is Election Time. Um, he's a very, very accurate pollster. Not a pollster. He analyzes the polls as they are. I have to go and find specifically which website he was using for this. But generally, those polls that he's going off of, it takes a collection of many different polls, puts them into a data field, right? So you'd have like a graph of like so many different polls, and the general analytics are showing that Trump is beginning to lead.
They don't actually.
I have him winning. Like say if he doesn't win Wisconsin or Michigan and what's the other one? I have to go back and look at a map. But I think you're getting what I'm trying to say. Like even if he just takes Pennsylvania, he's won the election. I think Pennsylvania is going to be like the deciding state
Trump
here.
is
Like
not taking
yeah, so it is just
Pennsylvania.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
Trump is
What
not
was that?
taking Trump is not taking Pennsylvania. It's not even gonna be close.
I mean, we're going to see tonight.
No, we will not see tonight.
Like I think even if he loses Wisconsin and Michigan, if he wins Pennsylvania, that's it. The election's over.
So first of all, no, untrue.
Yes.
Second of all, he's not projected to win Pennsylvania at all. Third of all, we're not going to know tonight. That's not how the election works. We're not going to know for days. But currently, Harris is favored in Pennsylvania.
We might be looking at different polls, man.
I don't know.
What
You
I'm seeing
haven't been
in
able to substantiate anything else.
like other analytics that I saw, like mostly that YouTube channel that I watched. He's not right leaning or left leaning at all. He just looks at the information as it is.
Well, I guess we'll find out when he loses.
Well, let me ask you: if Donald Trump loses, what are you going to be doing?
Same thing I do every day.
I mean, if he wins, excuse me. If he wins,
same thing I do every day. Tell people that he's an ineffective leader. Tell people why the policies he puts through are ineffective. Talk about the reasons why he's a fascist. Talk about his plan to harm marginalized groups. Talk about the fact that he tried to steal an election. Talk about the fact that he forcibly assaulted a woman. Talk about the fact that he told a 10-year-old he would date her in 10 years. Talk about the fact that he bought a beauty pageant so he could walk into the dressing room of teenagers. Talk about the fact that he's talked about how he just forcibly assaults women. Talk about the fact that he doesn't pay people and people have to sue him in order to pay them. Talk about his 34 felony counts for fraudulent business records. Like how much?
Oh, that's
bullshit. You think? Wait, you think the 34 felony counts were bullshit?
Yeah, all of the Supreme Court cases is just an attack by his political opponents. That should never happen in politics.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did Donald Trump falsify business records? Yes or no?
No.
No?
No, he didn't. No.
What do you think falsifying business records means?
I would assume that means like you're putting incorrect information down in your books, probably.
Okay. So when Donald Trump put down incorrect information in his books, which he did because he's admitted to it. So when Donald Trump puts incorrect information down in his books 34 times, what do you think we would call this?
All of it's bullshit.
Sorry, can you answer my question?
Reason why we have
I'm sorry, can you answer my question?
Okay, well the whole precedent of these cases is because it's a attack by his political opponents to get him in prison. This should never happen.
Did he do it, yes or not? Did he do it, yes or not? Yes or no, did he do it?
No, I don't believe so. I do not believe so, no.
You don't believe so when he admitted to doing it, his lawyer admitted to doing it, the evidence of the business records being incorrect, you still don't think he did it?
Well, where has he actually admitted that?
On the steps of the courthouse when he said, I did it, but I should be allowed to do it.
Well, you got to look at the context of that, right?
What more context do I need for I did it? What more context do I need?
Now, do you think he was correctly convicted or incorrectly convicted?
I think he was correctly convicted. He did it.
Do you think that maybe he might have been taking advantage of legal loopholes?
There were no legal loopholes.
Like if you don't like the way the tax system works,
there were no legal loopholes in this. Falsifying business, there are no legal loopholes here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look into the case a bit more.
So wait, you're telling me you've not looked into the case? Did you watch the court case? Did you see all the evidence? Did you read all of the depositions? Did you read the indictment? Did you do any of this?
Well, I mean, I watch Ben Shapiro quite often. I mean, Ben Shapiro, so I'm taking his...
Shut the fuck up. No fucking shot, bro. No shot. Get him out of here, chat.